So, Stephen, thank you very much for being here with us tonight. You just landed from Miami. So thank you again very much. And this is a special recording for your podcast.
Exactly.
So this,
Called the tailored wellness.
yes. And I have a lot of questions to ask you. The themes we will cover tonight with Stephen are who Stephen is, the positioning of his brand, the strategy, the business model and finance, the legal and protection, the acquisition and brand building, the organization, and the podcast. So we will cover all the themes that you asked a bit earlier. And just before diving into this interview, just so you know, Stephen and I collaborated through le Bureau du Design de la Mode et des Métiers d'Art de la Ville de Paris, which is an accelerator and an incubator from la Ville de Paris that helps entrepreneurs from fashion, but also savoir-faire, métier d'art, design on their brands. And I advised him on the digital parts, the digital strategy of his brand a few years ago, maybe last year. So we worked on the brand, the website, the social media optimization and presence also. And since then, I've watched his house sharpen its positioning at the intersection of couture and technology and also responsible design. So, Stephen, thank you again for joining us and tell about your journey to our students. So first, how did you get into fashion?
Hello everyone, so I'm Steven, and how I got into fashion. It's really funny because I didn't start with fashion. I started with architecture and set design because I was the kind of person that liked to do a bit of everything at the same time and not choose a path. But in France, they love you to put you in a box, which I hate. So I decided to do architecture and set design because it was the kind of the border aspect of design. And it was safer for me. I think it was with my parents. They were like, fashion is a bit too dangerous in terms of like, stability, finance and everything. And I decided I wanted to be set designer for fashion shows. That was a dream. And when you do a 2-year degree in set design, you have to do an internship. And I had the opportunity to go whether at Dior in visual merchandising to design windows, design and pop-up stores, or Obo Global, which is a production company that just does the fashion genre for the companies. Of course, I went for Dior, the name, and from that I fell in love with the products. And they have those videos on like how they make tailoring and everything on the social media. And this is where I was like, okay, I'm bored with architecture. It takes too much time to make something. Garment can be made in a week, and that's how I transitioned from architecture to fashion.
So great. You're a Parisian designer, but you learned during your studies at the London College of Fashion.
Yes.
You did this early stint at Christian Dior, and then you launched your label in 2020. So, what was the first idea or the first steps to launch or found your brand?
First, I think I was very lucky to be in London compared to Paris, because Paris didn't want me because I came from architecture background. And at the London College of Fashion, you have, I think, like you guys have here, it's like you do your degree, so it was MA in menswear for design, but then you have a lot of workshops on the side to do like about entrepreneurship, how to set up a business, how to do your cash flow, business plan and everything. And I had this thing of like, why not me? I should try something. And at the time, it was the boom in the UK of like sustainable fashion and how to rethink the entire process of making and consuming fashion. And I came across 3D software for pattern cutting for fashion. So it was like, we can talk about it absolutely later, I think. But it was the idea of like, okay, how can I reinvent the wheel to make nice and beautiful clothes, but in 2020 after studying.
2020, when exactly?
So The full story is finished my degree in 2019 in London, started a little bit the brand in the UK, but because of Brexit, I had to stop sharply, moved back to Paris. Then COVID time happened. All I remember was Macron saying, "We're going to close everything." So I just ran to get fabrics in the Sentier and locked myself in the basement with my sewing machine and my patterns and made a collection. And that's how it started, actually.
And what did the transition from the corporate world to your own label teach you about the realities of entrepreneurship in fashion?
It's very different to be in a huge house or a huge corporation comparing to running your own label because you have to do everything. You don't have budget except if you have some funds like family or whatever, friends. But I came to Paris with after 3 years in London and I had no contacts in the industry. So I had to build one by one a network, one person by one person to build everything. Um, so it's and that you have to learn like the first question was try and learn, and that's what you do mainly. Because I didn't have any studio experience in any houses. I worked a little bit for Hermes and Louis Vuitton, but that was a few weeks. It doesn't give you enough time to think everything. But the good thing about it is like you can do the way you want in terms of organization. So and sometimes, luckily, I have a really good mind for being efficient. So and productive. So I kind of like made my own process to run my own house. Even though I have 20 jobs a day, it's still very different to be in than a big house. Go ahead.
Was it scary? It's not a risk, but yeah, kind of.
In a way, it's a risk because at the beginning, I didn't feel any risk. I was like excited. And I managed to get to London because I got the kind of the fund. They let you have a price you can have for LCF. I got lucky, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a bit of money after to launch my brand. And I was kind of like very naive at the beginning because you think, oh, okay, I have this reference. I did a show with London Page of Fashion at during for London Fashion Week. People are gonna wait for me. I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna boom. I'm gonna be the next designer. Guess what? That didn't happen. So it's scary, but it's so very exciting. What's difficult for me, I think, it was keep that energy that you have at the beginning all the way through. Because you're gonna knock at doors, but they won't open, and then again and again and again and again, and it gets really tiring. So everyone knows that fashion industry is very cutthroat. So one mistake or bad collection or bad photo shoot can really downgrade the image of your brand or just cause you harm in like type of image. It's not easy. Um, but you have to surround yourself with the right people that make sure that they remind you why you're doing it and have a strong why from the beginning to be sure you can continue.
How did you meet all these nice people?
There,
Well,
I met a lot of nice people, also a lot of bad people
yeah,
from the
can
beginning.
imagine.
It was when I was in London, I worked for Christopher Kane retail, and I met one person that she was the head of the collection, and she was lovely. She was Brazilian, so we kind of like connected because I'm Portuguese on one side. And she told me, "Oh, when you go to Paris, meet that person." And from there, I went to the Défi. So Défi is a body of, I don't even know how to call it in English. Basically, they collect the tax from all the fashion brands, and then they help the federation with showrooms, shows, and everything. And I met so Nathalie Bois, and then she introduced me to a few of the people that introduced me to the people. And years and after years, then you start to have your own network. But also, there's, can I say, different circles. You have the niche circle of fashion in Paris, which is like crème de la crème of the people. You can put Lucien Pagès and all the nice PRs and all the nice buyers and everything. And then you have the other nice circle, which is more institutions with le BDMMA, the different federations, the GNBU, something more. And your job is to, you know, make everything move, go out all the time because people are always in the Marais, at La Perle or whatever, chez Café Charlot et Le Progrès. it's funny, but that's where stuff happens sometimes. Like people are drinking, like, oh, we should do a shoot together. Sure. And then what happens, you have your email and everything. And then following weeks, you have a shoot plan because you were out last night. That's part of the job, which is very difficult for me because I'm an introvert. So I'm like, I have to push myself to go out and meet people. And I'm home and like, after fashion week was a mess.
Takes a lot of energy.
It's a lot of energy, yeah.
You talked about the why. So what is your why?
My why was really to find, it was very selfish at the beginning. I grew up in a space where emotions were not really allowed to be expressed and to be creative. And I wanted to have my own space. Both I'm very curious and I love challenges. To build something was very exciting because it's like you have ideas, they connect together, and I love to collaborate with a group. And that was my why, like how to reshape the industry while making something beautiful, like just pure expression of art. And then of course the business side came to it because you have to be, profitable at some points.
How would you define your work?
My work is sensitive, kind of like emotional, nerdy, techie, and there's a bit of tradition in it as well.
Tradition in what?
In a way, in the respect of craftsmanship.
Could you tell us more about the tailoring and
the tailoring?
cellular?
So the tailoring, I fell in love with the tailoring when I was actually at Dior doing architecture, because they had this like nice video of tracing, cutting, past stitching, everything. And to me, I didn't understand at the time why in a blazer you have so many layers inside of canvas and how you get those nice shoulders and everything. So it was the most complex garment to make, but that looks very simple. And I have this mind of like, I like to dig into information. Like, it's like the rabbit hole of, I'm going to go all the way down just to understand everything so I can be happy. Otherwise, I just stress me out. And that's why, like with my brand, it's like, I launched it so 5 years ago now. Oh, well, yeah. And it was 5 years of learning and trying how to make a perfect bespoke jacket. And now that I know the rules, I can play with the rules to deconstruct everything. It's very cliche, but to master something, it's very important. Compared to the designers that I know, or even my friends, they like to sketch, but they don't like to make. I like to sketch and make because when I make, I can sketch it differently, and when I sketch, I know how to make. So it's a very like two things like that I need to balance to be able to do my creativity.
And who are your influence?
I answered this question earlier to my internal ear. There's many ones. There's one for kind of Issey Miyake because I respect the product and the vision Japanese have for fashion. McQueen because before being a designer, he was a tailor. Margiela because of the deconstruction. But also, of course, when I was at Dior, I loved Dior by King Jones and I loved Dior by Chris Van Ash. Also, Emot Lang for more like the minimalism and the how with very little aspect you can have an identity. So it's different kind of like icon I love, but everything merged together and becomes something else.
Yeah, and yeah, you talk also at some point about Dries Van Noten also.
Yeah, because I love the formats of Dries Van Noten. It's also because when I was studying, I worked for Dries as a host for the shows. So I have good memories of like seeing him putting all the clothes together and having the catwalks and there's something like romantic to it as well, very sensual but not slutty or not too sexy, but it's enough sexy to be desirable.
And if we talk about marketing, which can be a bad word sometimes, what distinct advantage do you have compared to your competitors?
You know, earlier when you did the question that you have to change fast. I think this is one thing I have is I'm very resilient. So therefore the brand is as well, because when you have to adapt as a small brand is quicker. When you have a big houses, they have the money, but they have a lot of people and the change comes in multiple times. The first thing I've been known for was the tech aspect of the brand because I'm really good with 3D pattern cutting. So that was the only brand at that time that was doing it. And now I have LVMH contacting me and other brands coming, be like, hey, how are you doing this? Because we need it as well. But to me, it's nice on the business side in terms of marketing, but like on a consumer base, people didn't really care. They're like, I don't care about this. What my clients like at the moment is like they come in the atelier, they see the craft, and they see me, and we spend time together. And I think the human connection right now, it's very important. They are clients of Dior, Louis V, Hermes, and when they come to me, they're like, "Oh, we are both of those brands." They go crazy with the prices now. We don't even see the designers, and they ask us so much. They treat us badly, and we rather spend the same amount of money into your brand because we want to see you grow as well. We believe in your project, and now they take me to restaurant. We go dinner together. So they became kind of friend of the house, which is very kind of weird relationship to manage sometimes because you're like they can text you like 11 at night. Hey, I'm coming like in 2 months. Let's go for dinner. And I'm like, hi, how are you? You know, it's my private number, but you know, it's fine. So marketing is a big word, but what I like right now, it's I focus on social media mainly. Also thanks to Sephora. In the next 6 months, it's the idea of creating only video content of really high dopamine, visually attractive content, because that's what algorithm pushes. And even though I hated TikTok, I hated all these things, we have to do it. So now I'm the crazy clown on TikTok sometimes with the team, but it works. It's fun. People know that there's one side of the brand which is being really unserious every day because we don't cure cancer, but we have fun making clothes. Um, and on the Instagram side, it's more beautiful. So it's very created. We work with photographers to create content. We work with videographer to make videos, and it's all about like also every 6 months refining um, the brand and the business plan. How we align on the vision. Is the business model still working? Because the past 3 years have been up and downs for everyone. Maybe you know that Essence is about to close down or whatever. So this I got it first because it was 2 years ago. I was stuck with them, and then from day to day, oh, we cancel everything. So you're being left with thousands of euros of loans, goods that they want to get. So it's very tricky, and I kind of like, okay, I'm gonna make sure they take the goods, the loan. I can try it away to find it like pay it, but then you have to make sure it doesn't happen again. And now I see all the brands like being owned money by SN. Like, God, I saw this coming. I'm glad I don't work with them anymore. So yeah, marketing is different aspect of with your clients, B2C, B2B.
Yeah, if you want to talk about it, that's interesting. Also, the retail, the wholesale. How do you choose that and manage?
Well, at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm with Essence. Then the next step is Bergdorf Goodman, Selfridges, Match Fashion, and everyone. And as far as I know, most of them closed now. So everyone is panicking. From what I've seen the past 2 years, the brand doing well are the ones whether with family money, which is completely true, or people that have a huge network and they've been in the industry for like years, worked for like fashion houses and all the people, and they decided to build their brand. And because they know everyone's helping, so it's taking off faster. If you're like me, you don't know anyone, stuff with not very much money, it takes time. But it doesn't mean in 5 or 10 years they're gonna still be there and you won't be there also like be even bigger than them. There's no rules. You have a question? So now, last season we signed 2 new stores in China. Yeah, China is a big part of also what's happening with my brand lately, which is the B2B. It's a lot of work for very little money, but it's good for China because in a bigger scale, the past 3 years I've been harassed by Chinese celebrity to dress them, to the point that last week I was away in Miami for a wedding for a client. We sent 15 boxes in 3 days for red carpets. As a small brand, it's crazy because it's not like the random celebrity. We don't know them, of course, but it's the ambassador of Dior, the ambassador of Givenchy, the ambassador of Burberry. And I'm like, how? Even people that know them from China, they're like, how did you meet these people? I'm like, I don't know. They just come to me. So one thing also is like you at the beginning when you start a brand, you think your clients are going to be these people, and you completely fail. But then you have this amount of people there that come to your brand and they love it. And guess what? At the end, they have more budget than the initial ones. That's what's happening right now. Um, so B2B and then the B2C, which is we have a nice atelier in the six because our partnership with Tile 3D, so the 3D software company that I work with. We have more and more clients coming for custom and bespoke, even for the ready to wear, because even though they like the ready to wear, they go, oh, can I have a shorter length? Can I have smaller waist? Can I change the fabric, the color? And this tiny thing makes a huge difference. All the clients that come to the studio, 3 months, 6 months later, they come back and they become the ambassador of your brand because there's nothing better than mouth of words for this.
Could you talk about your positioning also, maybe the pricing?
The pricing. So the pricing is, there's kind of like two parts of the business. One is very couture and bespoke, which is no limit budget. I was in Miami because we had those clients from the US that met us online because I helped a friend, Robert Woon, who's kind of like big now. They love my work. They were like, okay, we're getting married. We need 4 looks. What can you do? So we did 2 proposals. One was maximum 45,000 euros. And they said, or from 45,000 euros. That's the minimum package. So you get this kind of work. But if you want no limit package, we can work for a year for you. You get this amount of design, this amount of research fabric, this amount of 3D, and we do the shoes, we do the scarf, we do everything. They went for the bigger budget. I cried. I'm gonna go there. I was like, okay, I don't know how to. And it's really funny because it's very difficult to price something because there's the real, cost of materials, but there's the perceived value of what you're offering to clients. And in the luxury market, it became more about the service more than actual clothes. People sometimes with money, they don't have taste. They want you to take them by the hands and be like, okay, we're gonna do this together. I'm gonna show you the taste. I'm gonna show you what we do, and it was the best experience. They invited us to the wedding. Guess that they also their friends liked my work, so they asked my contacts for potential other work. So it's kind of like exponential. And again, the word of mouth is the best thing that happened. So we have the ready to wear, which is t-shirt 150 up to 2,000, 3,000 euros for like a leather jacket. And then the bespoke is the no limit. Yes.
Where do you source your fabrics?
I have multiple aspects. So, of course, Premier Vision. I used to go there all the time, every season, and again and again. To be fair, I don't go there anymore because I think because of the COVID, they got smaller and the very nice suppliers went away. But whether it's Premier Vision, Milano, Fabrica, and the other one in Germany, you have everything online. You can email the suppliers. They ship to you the swatches and everything. It's easy. And from the beginning with the brand, I worked with Nuna Source. Now everyone knows Nuna Source. I started with them before they were officially launched. Very good for a couture project or at my level because sometimes we have very small productions. But the tricky thing is like when it runs out, you're stuck. So you have to make sure what you buy, you can refine it easily somewhere else. And also in the pricing, know that the price they have, it's the low bracket, and usually it goes like 3 times, 4 times the price that the real price.
Yeah, could you talk about the margin and the financial side of of this business? Because you talked about the perceived price, but
Yes. Well, what happened in London is that you do your material cost plus the labor, and then you do time 2.4. And usually you had a sum for the packaging, transport, like a percentage. that gives you the wholesale price. Okay, from that price you do 2.7 or 3, and you get the retail price. That's the theory. That's what I do most of the time. But in reality, is like we have a client coming. He wants a blazer. That blazer is priced 1,800 euros. We have the flexibility right now to whether make it in the atelier, made in France, or we have the partnership atelier in Portugal. They are bigger, they are faster, and for now, our clients, they don't mind about the ready-to-wear being made in Portugal, except for the couture is made in France in atelier. And I had to learn that sometimes I wanted to make it myself because I was like, well, the shipping and everything, but then I'm gonna spend 3 days. 3 days of my time is way more expensive of the shipping to Portugal and back and forth. Um, so you have to make sure all the time, if I make something made in France, the price has to be higher. But then it doesn't make sense in a term of like range plan. So you need to find a balance between the price of the supplier to get the right margin. And there's the 20% rule. 20% of your collection is gonna make 80% of your business. So you have to be smarter where you put the energy and the money. And it can be true, for example, today or like a certain product, but maybe in 6 months you're gonna have to change. At the beginning, the wholesale was doing really well, so it was 80% of my income in the business. Now the direct to consumer is like 90% of the business. So it's a huge difference. And it was the in between was scary. I'm not gonna lie. Last year was scariest. Almost closed the business like 4 or 5 times in 3 years. Gosh, so much happened. But once you know, and also you have to trust your intuition. It's like sometimes when it comes towards you, you have to understand that there's something here. There's a niche in the market right now for menswear. It happens in the wedding or red carpet. Because in Paris, you have the big fashion houses. They have couture studio for women, but there's no couture studio for men. And I had a client coming like a couple of weeks ago. Like he went with his mom to Ashi's Schiaparelli, so she had nice sketches, fabric samples, and the guy was like, "I'm getting married. I want the same thing. I want the same treatment." He went to Dior, no, sorry, down in the studio. He went to Tom Ford, no, sorry, down in the studio. Because they're not important enough to be a celebrity. So they won't do the effort to make something for them. And this is where my brand step in. Now I'm like, we're here. Come visit us in the studio. Try stuff, try the quality on, try the embroidery, try anything. And we get those clients now. And because they are also friends getting married and friends getting wanting something special, that's how we get the clients.
So somehow you found this gap in the market. It was not even on
No,
purpose from what you're saying.
no, I always like the one-to-one client coming and buying, but reaching this level of quality of relationship and this type of clients, it's the goal. Because that's the VAC, that's the 10% VAC of the fashion houses. Coming to a small brand, this is bread on butter on bread. It's super nice, and they're very nice, and you treat them, as new clients, friends. It's something I really enjoy.
Um, Fashion is also seasonal. Is that the case at your place, or
Oh, yeah.
so when's the
This
busiest
time,
time?
so I'm part of Paris Fashion Week for the men's calendar. So we have June and January. So the 2 months before, it's busy. Lately, I'm more on the side of like, okay, the market is completely down on the wholesale. My clients, whether I do a show, presentation, or whatever, they come to the house. Do I need a fashion show? Again, maybe not. Can I do a fashion show if something cool? Maybe. There's something on the pipelines. If it happens, then I'll be, you will all know about it. um, so we have to be on the calendar because if you do wholesale, the buyers come to Paris. You have to be there. You have to present everything. But even though if you don't do a show, you have to do a showroom or a space to sell and be able to sell. Except that, I don't think there's something else. It's more that when we have those big clients coming for like a big project, they are the priority, um, above anything, holidays and other things. So, but yeah, it's seasonal. But then the way I see the brand now, it's I don't want to push too much on that side because it doesn't work anymore. The main path of everyone went there is the rules are changing for everyone. What was cool, it's not cool anymore. What was cringe, it's cool now. So this is what I said to you earlier. I want to focus the next month into video content because it's more fun. Um, I also thought about doing like a real TV show of like what's happening in the house, but this is a bit more crazy for now.
That would be awesome.
But is it because it's fun? Because I remember something like one of my first interns. She saw me on like LinkedIn with my face. She was like, "Oh my god, this guy needs to be so rude, so not nice." And then she came at the time we were in my flat at Tushi. You came once, um, and I was with slippers, almost in pajama, eating French sausage with ketchup for the interview. And then she was like, "You're actually so funny, Steven. Like, what do you think we're doing here? We're having fun and making clothes. We're not curing cancer." And this is where one side that I want to push us on the brand because it's something very serious. We have tailoring everywhere, and that's very formal. But we make jokes a lot of the time, and it's a part of the fun of the creativity.
About money, just to come back to this topic, what's one costly mistake you made that you would have preferred to be warned about?
There's three mistakes I want to talk about. First one, if you get an accountant, make sure she's a real one. Yeah. That was the cherry on top of the cake back 3 years ago when I found out the girl I thought was accountant. She was just like a manager, whatever. And then she was giving the word to a real accountant that was signed after I signed the contract. And then she gave her all my tickets of to like, invoices. She kept everything, so I had to go to the police and put a complaint, whatever. Another thing is you're gonna have to collaborate with many people, photographer, casting directors, image maker, videographer, anyone. Make sure you compare the prices. That happened to me many times when some people they do a real job, but they charge me the money like crazy, and I'm like, I was ashamed to not pay basically. And it's something like I won't redo again. Like if there's targets, you don't hit them, and we didn't sign in quote, and then you charge me for it, it's a no. You didn't do your work properly, I'm not paying. And then the last one is cash flow. Because it's a very different thing between the money in your bank account and the real money you can spend from that bank account. And not think about the taxes, the VAT, and all these things. So now I try to have a saving account for the business, and I put the money aside as much as possible, and be like, that's not the money of the business. There's no cash in the business. And by doing this, you train yourself to like, oh, actually, this cash now we can use it, and not spend like crazy sometimes. Also, like there was a time when I did a show thinking I would get a lot of sales, and the sales didn't happen. So then you spend 6, 7, 8 months to pay back the show, which is not very nice. And then you have to do a next show. So then you're like, oh shit, I have to jump a season because I don't have enough money to be able to make something else. So my biggest advice would be go slow, build your network, and then put the cash on the table. Because we can do a lot of things also with that money, especially right now with AI and everything, even though people are like against AI. But I think AI can be a very good tool to save you time and money sometimes. Still be creative and still respect, the industry, the models and everything. But yeah, build slowly but surely.
And about AI, could you talk a bit more about that? Because you use it a lot and you use technology a lot since the beginning.
So yeah, I used 3D from the beginning. That was the point of the business, to avoid waste, and that saved me hundreds of thousands of euros. How?
Can you elaborate?
So I don't know if you know Style 3D, Cloud 3D. There are two softwares to create pattern cutting digitally. So when you make a garment, you have to make twirls, then you have to make samples, and you have to make whatever, as many as you need. In my process, I do the patterns digitally. I have a digital avatar. I make the garment digitally on the software. I can see the fit, the design, everything. Then when I'm ready, I print and we make, whether it's in-house or with ateliers in Portugal. If I do the
Sorry, what kind of materials do you use?
cottons, gabardine cotton, wool suiting, wool, all kinds of wool, silk, mainly woven. For the knit, it's a bit different. You can do simulation, but then you have to do a sample because the tension and everything has to be tested. But still, 90% of the collection is made on 3D. So it's like for a year to collection, it's 120 reference that usually goes through three samples, 3 12s. That's X amount of like fabric, materials, money, and time. And this is the value of the 100,000 euros. So AI at the beginning I was enjoying to play with because I was taking pictures of flowers. And then I was using the AI to distort it, shape it, transform it, and create something new. And I like the ping pong with AI. AI has to be here for the answer of a problem, not create one or create demand. That's the way I see it. Right now, like I love to play with a lot of video content AI because I can mix what I shoot with animate them, for instance, or create fun, high dopamine like in content video. For instance, like Jacques Mus when he did the giant bags in the streets, you don't need CGI anymore. You just use AI to prompt it. And we're just at the beginning, so it's kind of like interesting to see how you can push it. The only way I won't use it is like using AI models. That's not very nice. I don't really, also because it looks too perfect. But for instance, line we had a shoot 2 weeks ago. I missed the piece because it was being produced. I can take a picture of the piece, and the AI will reshape the piece onto the model. But I'm allowed to do it because I paid for the model fee, and it was just one piece or two missing. So it's very different. But it saves time and money instead of like calling the model back, having the piece reshot, really wasting time and money. It's like 2 click.
On the maybe more boring side, the structure of your film. What form did you choose? Is it the first one and you stayed with that, or
No,
is it evolved?
so what I did is I stayed with entrepreneur, which is kind of like freelance statute, because it was easy. There's no tax, there's nothing, and everything. I mean, there's tax, of course, but there's no as much as having a business, and you need an accountant, but you have to do a lot of things. But then when I started to like spend money on fabrics, on machines and stuff, you can't remove those from the money you get. So I moved to Sazu. It was the one that was recommended to me. I checked EURL and SRL, and I was like, it's a bit the new kind of like trends and the best one in long term, because if I wanted to have also investors at some point, it can be turned into a SAS, and I can investors in to split the shares. It's easier. But I find it kind of difficult to pay yourself with it, because you need to pay, like if you want to have 1K, you need to pay 2K. The business has to pay 2K for you to get 1K. So it's a lot of tax. And then you can have, of course, shares at the end of the year. But this, you need to have profit. And trust me, for the first 5 years, except if you get really lucky, you make none. Touching wood this year. I might do some this year, finally. But yeah, it's structure in France a bit tricky.
And which assets did you protect at first?
My name. And a different story for this. So I did my name in France. Then I did it in Korea because I went to Korea for like a showroom. And when I joined Paris Fashion Week, I got a few emails from China telling me people registered my name. And I was like, oh, it's a fake, it's a spam, whatever. Turned out it wasn't a spam or a fake. So someone stole my name in China. And I was like, well, I don't really care, it's fine. But then China boomed with my name. So I paid a lawyer last year, luckily, because through a friend of friend, they managed to get my name back under my name with the company. Um, that could have been like 10,000 euros easily. I paid, I think, 800 euros, which is not bad. So yeah, name China, Korea, and in Europe you have the IP European thingy. They give again like an amount of money if you register it as a refund, and it end up to be like 200 euros for the entire Europe. So name and logo. And at the beginning, I was doing my collection through like a simple thing called la lettre, tu sais, enveloppe scellée, like a sealed letter. But yeah, stuff like I don't care. I don't have the energy and money to like put all my design all the time. I think today there's enough proof that's your design. And again, even like big companies, they struggle because when Zara does something, a copycat, there's always like there's so much stuff that happen. Like at the end, I don't care. I know one of my designs have been copied by someone that I actually know, but what do you mean to say? Like, there's nothing to say.
A direct competitor?
Where? In Paris Fashion Week Men's. So I was like, oh, well, I'm glad I'm amused now. But whatever. And people saw it. They're like, oh, someone did your t-shirt. I'm like, ah, okay. Oh, well, it's fine. It's the job.
Yeah, part of the business. Which...
Let's do question.
Sorry.
Talking about competitors, who are your competitors?
I have none. No. It's very... Usually when you do competitors, you're gonna be like, you do the cross and like these people. To me, it's not really true. I think the moment you are young designers, the competitors are gonna be all the young designers in the same kind of like area. So for me, all the tailoring aspect of it. But then my clients, the one I'm close to, they don't buy other young designers. So I'm in a very weird niche position at the moment, which is a bit funny because I would like to be more mainstream on one side on certain products, just to give more brand awareness.
Which ones, for example?
Just the first entry price point to like the fun t-shirt with the knot, or the denim that we're gonna do, the knits, which are like more affordable, but still like fashionable, and then they give the luxury of the house with the brand codes. So then yeah, you have all those people, but then sometimes you can purchase like literally Louis V because your clients buy Louis V, and if it comes to me, you won't buy to Louis V. So it's a very funny. I did my mapping with Wes Bonner, Simon Rocha, SS Daily, and this kind of like new generation. But they're the previous generation. On my one would be more maybe Egon Lab, but again they're more advanced because they created the brand like 2-3 years before me, and at the right time they had a first brand before, so they're kind of more advanced. So it's a bit question a bit tricky. And I have a really strong image lately in my brain is that the main path is muddy, and sometimes you have to take the really nice small path, very green next door that is scary, and because there's no one that's been there, but you might find the most beautiful, I don't know, tree or garden or whatever, full of good stuff for you.
That's what we call in marketing the blue ocean. We talked about it, so...
I read the book, Blue Ocean Strategy.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think I found it, but I'm still like on the beginning.
And which KPI matter the most at this stage?
Income.
Yeah.
Income for sure. Because at some point, there's no relation between PR, sales, and Instagram amount of followers. Everything is disconnected. So for me right now, because I get those clients that I used to go to Hermes, Louis V, Dior, and all these crazy brands, I want them to perceive the brand even more luxurious on this level. So this year I made the garment bags with the embroidery of the logo on it. We made the paper bags with the nice handle with gros grain. I'm changing the new labels with more texture that give more luxury feeling. That's why I also want to do the videos to really show the craftsmanship, because if you look at the small brands, if they do one video about craftsmanship, it's all fake and all set. And I know because I know most of them. And if you come to my studio, you will see us literally making stuff all the time. And this is very important. So videos means increasing the amount of followers on Instagram as well, because it's very important to be. Because I remember like even Saks or Bergdorf, they were like, oh, but you only 20K on Instagram. We need more people, like everything. So we're training the algorithm with videos to boost, and the podcast also was part of it, to also for me to explore more, but to boost the algorithm to be open, like in terms of branding and everything.
How many people do you have in your team?
Right now, so they're all freelance for now. The reason is also because cash flow first, but because they're from abroad, so their visa is a freelance visa. 1, 2, 3, 4, but not full time. 5, yeah, between 4 and 6, depending with interns, but no one is full time.
What do they do?
So I have head of atelier, which is the role managing the atelier and making sure everything runs smoothly with the interns and freelance to make sure the deadlines are respected, and also teach how to make stuff. Because part of the job is also showing and making to achieve like the luxury grade. You have Grace that joined recently. She's head of partnership, which is the idea of having a business role to reach out to brands and people and hotels and structure to create partnership with them, to propose like more like a collaboration on a way on a B2B uh, side, but also anything related to what can bring more cash to the business. How can we literally create cash flow in the business? Right now, we are on a project for China to open a showroom next year in February, and she's kind of in charge of managing everything. Because we had so many requests, the idea is like to open the same of Paris, but in China directly. Because the problem with China is like if they see something, they want it now. But because I have no cash flow, no stocks, then if you go to China, we can have in 1 week stuff made from the post that people have seen. And if you don't make it, some people are going to copy your style to be made there. So name protected, business needs to be registered, and organized structured to be this. And then we have more interns usually, or entrepreneur. She's Barbara, she's here. And it's kind of I've been doing this for like a year now, when it's like a 6-month Erasmus program, when someone wants to build their brand and they need mentorship. So they work for the brand. I show them everything, how I run a business, the tips, and they have a day for them to also work on their own projects on the side.
And what do you refuse to delegate?
Invoicing. No, yeah, because yeah, they have access to account and everything, so I can't delegate that. Mood boards sometimes I do, but it's something of course it's my name, my brand, so I'm still like at the top in terms of creative inputs for sure. And I forgot that we have the PR freelance, and we have also the stylist I work with for the shows. It's time also e-commerce. As well.
How do you protect your focus by doing all that?
It's very hard because you have to do 20 jobs in a day. So after the years now, I'm more trained to it, and I know I have a standing limits. There's sometimes I know I will be only creative at night. So during the day, I'll be like managing the team, email, whatever. And I will go home after dinner and then like, okay, creative, boom. So I have always like paper and pens at home to design, sketch, and or I will just sit on my carpet and be like, wait, I have ideas, and I write everything down. And usually I try to go with the flow, even if it's like 1 a.m. or whatever time of the night, because it's first I enjoy them. It's not the best ideas because you rest and your mind is not focused on like doing, but just on being. And it's very important that you have time for being and one time for doing. Usually in the morning I'm more into doing. I try to have it on like on my agenda, like plan before like atelier time, creative time, everything. In reality, it's harder because there's a meeting there. There's this happening. You have to go deliver this. There's this celebrity that wants that. We need someone to do something. We have a custom for a concert in China. You have to sketch now. So it's a battle between the monster you created and and you sometimes. And sometimes it's like a very kind puppy, and you're it's cool. But you need to make time for yourself and there's a really good book I talk about in the podcast called The Artist Way, and it's like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I remember the number of weeks to be creative and to stay creative. And it's like every week you have a self date and you do anything for you that brings you joy. Your creativity is your inner child. Bring him joy. First time I went to the aquarium in Paris, I usually go to the cinema, and I love to go to the cinema because you can just on my own. You watch the movie and then suddenly you reflect on your own things, or it's just nice to kind of like have a space, but it's not your house because addiction to smartphone is huge, and checking email like anytime. So I make sure I have time as well to outside of work. Like I went to Miami for the wedding, but of course I didn't want to be jet lagged all day during the wedding, so I went a bit before. I could also understand the culture, check the architecture, go to the stores, see because they have really nice stores that I really want to work with, meet the people, understand like what they buy. Um, so even though there's work, there's also pleasure on the side, or and the way around as well. When I go for a holiday, there's always work happening. If I go somewhere that with tours and everything.
And your holidays can last long, or is that very shortened?
This year took 3 weeks, which was the first time in 5 years.
In August?
Yeah, in August. Usually it's more like a week, 10 days maximum. Also because I was teaching at the school before for like 3 years on Saturday, so it was like 6 days a week working, and I said enough. And now the brand is really like being on the next level. I'm trying to make sure in a year I have only the brand and I can pay myself, pay my bills, pay everything, which is challenging, but I think we can make it. Yes.
Who's your dream client?
My dream client, to be honest, the same kind we had for the wedding project. They loved the brand. They fell in love. We really had the human connections. They are this kind of sensitive soul that they lived in a Disney Prince Charming kind of like movie. And when I have clients coming for like a special project, I like to put them with board, like intention. We make a nice, PDF document. And like, okay, I love the vibe. I want to be in there. So be free to suggest whatever you want. Those are your dream clients. They financially wants to support the project. They want the dream. I want the dream for them. It's the perfect clients. And I never thought I would have them, which is very nice. So that's more for the custom. Then the second part of the business is just, it's a very, very, very ego thing, but like all those cool guys, like in the niche circle of fashion, wanting to wear your stuff. Yeah, but it's more like a achievement. But I don't think it's gonna bring me like a pure, like honest joy and happiness. I find myself more happy when I do one-to-one clients because you really get to understand them. And we have a very good client right now. I can't even say client anymore. It's just a friend. He took us to dinner like last month, the entire team, to a nice baccarat restaurant. We had so much fun. And then he came the following day. He's like, okay, I'm going to order this. I want that. No rush. You don't have to. No, but I want to buy this because otherwise I'm going to regret it. So it's nice. And I really want to expand to those people and have more clients like this, because it's a really one-to-one kind of a situation. 2 years ago, I worked also freelance for like a brand. They launched leather goods and bags and homeware lifestyle products. We are talking Hermes level products. We design the uniforms, we make everything, and it's the same philosophy. They have a private showroom near Avenue Montaigne. They have only one-to-one appointment with clients, and it's very bespoke. I think it's very the new luxury. It's how you can do a experience, nice product with authenticity, and never be fake. Whether they look good, no. It doesn't suit you, let's go to that color. It doesn't suit you, let's go to that style. And people, they really value honesty right now in social media, because everyone knows it's easy to be like, oh my god, it's amazing, we love it, No, that doesn't fit you, let's try something else.
Why launch a podcast then?
So, long story short, the podcast, the idea was I have a best friend. We used to call each other like every day during quarantine. And he launched his brand at the same time as I did. So it was really like giving advice to each other. And because at some point he was more advanced to me in terms of business.
He's also in fashion?
He wasn't, yeah, he's in London.
Okay.
He's in fashion. He has a knitwear brand. And he was also doing manufacturing for the brands, but he closed that side now, and he is fully focused on his brand. And I remember it was like, oh, but you have to work on your storytelling, you have to work on social media, you have to be more, full on your creativity. And conversation after conversation, I start to open up a bit more. I talk about my depression like years ago, and how I went from a psychiatric clinic to London College of Fashion. And that was the first kind of like, I forgot actually, like 10 years ago, I was in a really bad state, and I managed to get out of depression and anxiety, go to London, do the fashion show in London, and make my brand and be in Paris Fashion Calendar. And I saw around myself so many people struggling with depression, anxiety, especially creatives, and even more during COVID. And most of my friends, when they need advice, they come to see me now. Because they're like, yeah, but you had depression, you feel better, and you're always good. You're good at it. Like, you have good intuition. You're good with like advice. So I made a first video last year, just me talking like how I went from the psychiatry to the London of Fashion. And I got so many people send me text and messages like, how, wow, like, I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much, because I'm struggling right now, but you give me hope. And I think the feeling of hope is something like very hard sometimes to obtain when you're in this kind of like situation. And I wanted to be an example. That happened to me. It was the worst time of my life, but now it's the best time of my life. So hang on. You can go through this shit. You can work on it, and your creativity is your best savior. And then I discussed this idea to my best friend, and we're like, I need to do the podcast. So we did a first episode last year, September. And then the way through, the camera went on the side, so I couldn't edit anything. So I was like, okay, no, that's not working. I need to like find people to like work with me. And then I had Clara here and Lucy, that she's not here, but they came because they wanted to do a documentary on the brand. They launched their business. They wanted to create like a video on craftsmanship. I was like, yeah, why not? Let's try to do that. And it was a very nice documentary when I explained also like the vision of the brand, the collection. Then they also came for the video of the show from January this year. And then I approached them with the project, like, look, I have this idea. I really want to do it. I want to share creativity, mental health, and business insights. I think people love it. And I like to share my knowledge. I like to see the next generation do better than I did. So I got an intern. She worked with me on the episodes. I gave her like the rough guidelines. I'm like, this is the 10 episode I want. Let's try to work on a framework on the big lines. And then it was 2 days of recording, like straight on, episode after episode, changing haircuts. And so now it's like one episode until end of November, recorded in French, but thanks to AI, it's translated in English as well. and it's called the Tailored Wellness. Tailored because tailoring, and tailored to you, and wellness because it's about well-being with creativity.
What's your ambition? Not only with the podcast.
I really want this brand to grow, even though I also have the dream to work for another heritage branch because I think it's two different jobs. But I have a very good feeling with the brand right now that I kind of like found my like direction. Even though every 6 months I'm like, okay, it's not enough me, it's not me enough. I need to refine it and refine it. But I think it's part of the process. I really admire those designers that just can like do 5 seasons, 6 seasons, and be like, it's the same thing. I don't know if it gets boring or it's just constant. I don't know. I'm still trying to like figure out these things. But now I kind of find like my broad scope, and I'm in the scope, and I'm trying to push as much as possible.
And how would you define success?
It's really interesting because I have two ideas in my mind. There's one success being recognized by the industry, by those famous circles, which is I'm kind of like halfway through it. And in a way, I'm happy because I'm like, there's room to go there and be there. Because I think probably when I'm going to be there and be like, I don't care anymore. But I think the real success is like having a brand that lasts in terms of time. Because I saw so many ones close like the past year, even month. And being financially viable, it's a big thing. It's a business. So creativity, yes, but business too. And for me, both go together. And this is where I think success needs to be. Because you can be very successful in terms of finance and grow your business and a team, and not be successful in terms of press and media and all this like niche kind of a very fashion aspect of the business. So if I have one but not the other, I'm okay. If I have both, better.
So this is a very special episode you are recording right now with our students at IFM. What's the one thing you would like them to remember?
Go slow and triple check when you do, suppliers, freelance, people you connect with. Nothing is free. If it's free, where either someone gets something in return that you don't see, or you're gonna have to do the work twice.
Thank you very much, Steven.
Thank you, Sephora.
Do you want to add something else, cover other topics, and do you have any questions, guys? Feel free to ask. That's the moment if you want to talk with a real entrepreneur.
I have
in
a question.
fashion.
Who wants to like potentially launch brand business, whatever?
So yeah, we had 3 people. Or
There's
4
more now.
people, but
Okay.
yeah.
What do you want to launch?
Probably not a brand, but I would like to open my own structure one day for sure. As like my age, I already have like a small project idea. Maybe I will be able to talk about it. But later in life, I definitely want to master like a job enough to open like to be like a freelance or like.
Okay. Like in what area?
Probably in product development or sourcing.
Okay.
For the materials and help the companies to produce like garments, but like as a garments of the boîte de conseil, like for specialized in production and not in image.
There's a few opening. I think it's really nice because sometimes most designers they don't have any clue about technical aspects, and they need the structure to be like, okay, I have this idea, but how do I make it like tangible?
The concrete way, yeah.
Okay. In the back.
I don't know. I know that I want to do something a bit entrepreneurial, but like in 15 years.
Okay. Take your time. You're right.
Yeah. But I know that I want something smaller at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, a surfboard company.
Okay. Wow. On this side.
I've already done 2 entrepreneurial projects, both
what were the two business you launched?
The first one that I did in high school, it was like a wooden accessories project, and it was like the first idea was launched like with my school, and then I kept doing it for like 2 years, and then the last one was we cook like for phones.
Yeah.
Phone cases, exactly. And it was super successful on Etsy. Like honestly, I was surprised how successful. And I started a website as well for it, which went well for a while, but because of school and like doing internships, like I just didn't have enough time to continue. And it's also not something that I was super passionate about, so I didn't really see the value in continuing to do it. So I decided to sell my Etsy shop to someone, and yeah, just focus on something else for now.
Great. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, another idea? No? Yes.
Again, not right now, maybe in the future, but I'm really interested in the accessories market, especially bags and yeah, like leather goods and stuff. I would like in the future to have my own brand. And I already have some ideas, but I see it like way in the future.
Why is the bag market is very interesting because everyone wants a hit bag, but it takes a bit of time to really like find a unique shape and branding for it. Because everyone knows Pollen, of course. I think they did really well, but now it's like don't want to trash it, but it gets boring. It's like the Jacquemus bag, no one cares about it anymore. Whether the Hermes is like everyone wants one are fighting for it. So finding the balance between everything. Okay. Okay,
And
great.
Are there any entrepreneurs you recommend or look after in fashion or other industries?
I don't have name right now, but I don't think about this. I used to spend so much time on YouTube listening to like different people, podcasts. One of them I actually really like is Diary of a CEO. Really good. Entrepreneurial Mode, I used to listen to it every time. I stopped. No, not right now. I don't have mentor at the moment. Even like I should maybe find a new one. That would be one of the dream actually. Have a mentor that was really successful, like Chris Van Ash, someone like that, or Edo Ackerman. They don't have time, those people, of course. But because everything is changing so fast that you need to adapt crazily all the time, and it gets sometimes really tiring. I think it's really wise from you like to take the time to like get a lot of opportunities first and see and get knowledge, because maybe by then the AI kind of like wave would have been more settled and people will know a bit more like what's going to be happening. Because I know that there's a lot of people scared because the technology can like now make patterns for you, can design a brand A to Z for you. So it's maybe you're gonna see maybe too many brands, and like how did you differentiate yourself from all this thing happening?
Thank you very much, Stephen, for your generosity
You're welcome.
to us.